Welcome to Bangla Shikha Classroom 2024, an endeavor of Paschim Bongo Samogro Shikha Mission under the Government of West Bengal Education Department. I am Mita Dotto, Assistant Teacher, Dokhineshwar Sri Sri Sharoda Devi Balika Vidya Mandir. Today, we are going to do the lesson Father's Help, which is lesson 1 of your Bliss book. I would request the students to please open your books to page 1, where there is unit 1 of Father's Help. Before going into any lesson or any chapter or poem, we need to learn a little about the writer of the lesson. R.K. Narayan is quite a popular name which you must have heard. He is one of the leading figures of Indian literature, and he has got himself a lot of awards like Padma Vibhushan, Sahitya Academy Fellowship, and the Manson Medal. Father's Help, the lesson Father's Help, is an excerpt from one of his most popular work, Malgudi Days. Malgudi Days was so popular that it was also turned into a TV serial, and it was very popular among the masses. So Father's Help, the part we are going to learn today, is an excerpt or a part of that Malgudi Days, the work Malgudi Days. Now to begin with, in the unit 1, we see lying in bed, Swami realized with a shudder that it was Monday morning. The lesson opens with a little boy, a boy of your age, who realizes with a shudder, like very sadly, with a shivering feeling, he realizes that, oh my God, it's Monday and I have to go to school again. This may be a very common feeling for you also. So he realizes that it was Monday and he has to go to school again. As an excuse, he cries and declares that he has a headache. Now, mothers are quite kind-hearted, so his mother considers his case and gives him permission to stay at home. But father doesn't go with mother's decision. Mother asks him to stay at home, and he goes and lies down in a bed. But father, seeing him lying down at 9:30, so 9:30 was already the time when he should have gone to school. So father, seeing him at 9:30 lying on the bed, asks, don't you have school today? And then Swami gives the excuse that he has a headache and cannot go to school. But father says that what you are telling is all nonsense. This does not have any sense. This is just an excuse. So just go, get up, dress up and go to school. But he insists on saying that no, he has a headache. And then father said that loaf about less on Sundays and you will be without a headache on Monday. So Sunday is a holiday, and he loafs around, means he moves around without any particular productive work. So he roams about so much that father tells him that if you stop roaming about so aimlessly on Sundays, then on Mondays you will be okay and not wake up with a headache. So now Swami sees that he cannot put this excuse to not go to school, so he changes his excuse. He says that now it's already very late, so if I go late to school, Samuel, my teacher, will be very angry. So here refer to page 3. You will have to, it is your own fault. So, Swami's father says that yes, you have to go to school. It's your fault that you are late. And then he says that what will the teacher think if I go so late? So Swami's father said that you tell him that you were having a headache. Tell him the truth. Now he says no, he will scold me if I say so. And the father asks what's the name of the teacher, and Swami says it's Samuel. So father then asked that does he scold everyone like this, or is it only you that he scolds? Swami says that he is a very angry man, and he is especially very angry about people or about students who come late to class. So I wouldn't go to Samuel's class because the first class will be Samuel's and I have to go and face him. Father said that if he is so angry and always scolds you so much, then why don't you just complain to the headmaster about it? And then Swami said, even the headmaster is afraid of Samuel. So we cannot complain to the headmaster also. So this way we end the unit 1, and the unit 1 creates an atmosphere of a little boy, Swami. He doesn't want to go to school and tries to create many excuses which would help him from going to school. So now we come to the next unit, synopsis of unit 2. Now father proposes to send a letter to the headmaster to Swami. Now Swami, just refer to page 4 of your books. Swami hoped that that with this his father would be made to see why he must avoid school for the day. So when Swami gave the excuse of Samuel being afraid of the headmaster, Swami thought that now father would of course understand why he doesn't want to go to school. But seeing how Swami was dealing with things, father also changed his tactics. Father said that he would write a letter to the headmaster and send it through Swami. Now Swami was very curious to know about the content of the letter, because somewhere in Swami's mind he knew that he was giving excuses, and what he was telling about Samuel perhaps was not true. It was the complaints that he was having against Samuel was just to save himself from going to school. So when he came to know about father's proposal of sending a letter to the headmaster, he became really curious and worried. So by the time Swami was ready to leave for school, father had composed a long letter to the headmaster. He put it in an envelope and sealed it. So Swami now knew that he had to go to school, so he was preparing for school. So by the time Swami got ready and dressed up, father wrote a long letter, put it in an envelope and sealed it so that Swami could not see it. So now he was very curious and asked, "What did you write?" And father said that there is nothing written for you. It's for the headmaster to read, and you just go to your headmaster and deliver him the letter. And now he was very worried that, have you written anything about Samuel? And father said, yes, I have written plenty of things about Samuel. So what has he done, father? Now here see a little boy's dilemma, confusion of telling something against a teacher who doesn't actually deserve to be tainted like the way he has done, has created worries in the mind of the little boy. So when father said that, yes, I have written a lot of things about Samuel, he questioned with his innocent mind, what has he done? So here is the question, what has Samuel really done? Samuel has done nothing. It was only in Swami's mind that things against Samuel was going on. So my dear students, this may be very often coming to all of your minds too. When teachers or parents, they give you knowledge, they give you certain suggestions on what will make your life a better one, you seem not to listen to them, and you have your own excuses of doing that. Often you may be doing like this, that you don't listen properly to the class and to the teacher teaching in class, and you go at home, and when your parents ask, you tell the teacher was not teaching properly. When actually you are on the wrong, but you know what you have done. So this happened to the little boy Swami also. He complained against Samuel to excuse himself, but when he saw his parent, his father, complaining against Samuel, then he was worried because he knew within himself that what Samuel did was actually for his good. So just turn to your page 5, and what is next explains what was going through Swami's mind. Swami went to school feeling that he was the worst boy on earth. So what happened to Swami? Swami went to school, but he thought himself to be a very bad person who has given allegations and complaints against a teacher without actually any fault of his. His conscience bothered him. So, in his inner self, in his inner mind, he was feeling very bad as a person that he has spoken against Samuel to save himself from going to school. He wasn't at all sure if his description of Samuel had been accurate. And he was not sure also that whatever he told about Samuel, that he scolds students without any reason. So Swami was not sure himself also that whether Samuel was actually a bad person like that. And he also thought that personally he was much more friendly than other teachers. So in his mind, he also thought that if I compare Samuel to other teachers, it shows so that Samuel is more friendly to me than the other teachers. So for me to speak against him was not at all correct. He felt he had mixed up the real and the imagined. So this is a very important line, my dear students, for you to learn here and learn and take it up as a lesson in your life, that he has mixed up the real and the imagined. We often do that. You often do that. We as adults do that. What is reality? We should go by that, not by what we think in our minds for a thing to be or a person to be. Here, Samuel was imagined by Swami to be a bad person, to scold him for going late to class, but Swami has not seen the reality. In the third unit, we will see the reality of Samuel, and then the implication of this line that he had mixed up the real and imagined will become more important to you. So students, you should always differentiate between the real and the imagined, and believe only what is real, what is your real experience, and not what goes on your mind without experiencing the real thing. So Swami's head was dizzy with confusion. Now Swami's confusion led him to dizziness, like he was feeling like vomiting, he was feeling like his head was reeling. He was not feeling quite good in the good physically also, because you know, if our mind is not healthy and proper, our health also doesn't feel proper. He could not decide if Samuel really deserved the allegations made against him in the letter. The more he thought of Samuel, the more Swami grieved for him. To recall Samuel's dark face, his thin moustache, unshaven cheek, and yellow coat filled Swaminathan with sorrow. So he was thinking, what has father written in the letter? And he was like thinking of Samuel's dark, very sad face on hearing those like complaints which he did not deserve at all. And here we get a description of Samuel also, how he looked as a person: thin mustache, unshaven cheek, and he was wearing a yellow coat. So this picture of Samuel in his mind after the headmaster receives the complaint against Samuel made Swaminathan very, very sad. With this, we go into the third unit of this chapter. In unit 3, we see that Swami has entered the school gate and an idea occurred to him. He thought that I will deliver the letter to the headmaster at the end of the day. So, if I deliver the letter at the end of the day, the whole day Samuel will perhaps get a chance to be bad with him for some reason, and Swaminathan can justify his feelings. Swaminathan can justify that yes, Samuel has been bad to him, has scolded him as he expected. So he wanted to give Samuel the whole day to be bad with him. He expected that Samuel will be bad to him so that the letter and his thoughts of Samuel would be justified. So now with this, he entered the class. Samuel was taking the class and teaching arithmetic. He looked at Swami when Swami stood near the door. Swami hoped Samuel would scold him severely, and as Swami already thought that on looking at Swami and seeing that he was very late in the class and Samuel was already teaching arithmetic, he had started his lessons, he would scold Swami a lot and tell him why he was late. And Swaminathan was asked, "You are half an hour late." Samuel said to him that you are half an hour late. "I have a headache, sir," Swami said. And then Swami said that as the reason of his being late, he said that I am having a headache. "And then why did you come at all?" This was the unexpected question from Samuel. So now next, after listening to why Swami was late, Swaminathan, why he was late, Samuel asked him that why did you come to school at all? So this was not what Swami has expected. He did not scold him. He did not tell anything else, but he very sympathetically told Swami that why did you come to school at all? You could have taken rest. And this was a very unexpected answer from Samuel. Swami then said, "My father said I shouldn't miss school, sir." He said, "My father has told me that I shouldn't miss school." And to that Samuel looked very impressed and said, "Your father is quite right. We want more parents like him." So even in your school also it may have happened that you have excuses for not going to school, but some of your parents, they understand that how important regular school classes are and they insist upon going to school. So here there is a message from Swami's father also, which Swami took as an excuse for replying to what his teacher Samuel has asked. He told him that I came to school because my father feels that I should be regular in school. And Samuel appreciated it very much and said, yes, all parents should be like this. And then Swami, on hearing that, when Samuel appreciated his father, Swami thought in his mind that you don't know, poor man, what my father has done to you. So Swami recollected that his father has written a lot of negative things about Samuel in the letter to the headmaster. So when he appreciated his father, Swami thought that you don't know what harm my father has done to you. All right, go to your seat. And then Swami was asked to go and sit in his seat. Now, there was a time when Samuel went round the class to see the homework. And this was the time when students were very alert because one who did not do the homework, Samuel was very angry with them. Now, Swami did not do his homework. Swami fails to show his homework, but Samuel excuses him. When Swami couldn't show the homework, Samuel told by himself that, okay, you had a headache, perhaps that's why you could not do the homework. So this was also very unexpected. So now we see again and again that what Swami had imagined about Samuel is totally different from what is happening really. Really, teachers are very understandable if you are very understanding if you tell them the truth. If you tell them the excuses, if you tell them what is not real, they do not get the correct thing and they may scold you. But once what you feel truly, what happened to you truly, what your problems are, you discuss that with your teacher. The teachers are like the real Samuel, not the imagined Samuel. So at 4:30, Swami, after the bell rang, Swami went to the headmaster's room. And from the peon, he comes to know that the headmaster is on leave and he won't come to school for a week. So Swaminathan was very relieved to hear this. So he doesn't have to give the letter now. So he was very, very happy and ran away from the place. And as soon as he entered home, and he gave the letter, with the letter, father said, now, or please refer to page 8, the last portion. The peon told, father said, I knew you wouldn't deliver him. He had the letter in hand and father said that I knew that you wouldn't deliver the letter. Why did father say so? Because father knew that Swaminathan was not speaking the truth. He was just giving excuses. So Swaminathan would try his best not to give the letter to the headmaster. Though something else happened for which he couldn't give the letter, the headmaster was actually not present and Swaminathan himself was very relieved about it. But the headmaster is on leave, Swami said, and he told his father that the headmaster is on leave. So father snatched the letter and he tore it up. So that was the end of the letter. Don't ever come to me for help if Samuel scolds you again. You deserve your Samuel, he said. Now, his father tells him a very important line. Don't come and tell me anytime that Samuel has scolded him. You deserve your Samuel. What does father mean by your Samuel or Swami's Samuel? Swami's imagined Samuel. That is what he notifies to Swaminathan. And father tells that you deserve that Swaminathan who scolds you, not the real Swaminathan who is sympathetic to you. So this is a beautiful lesson telling about a teacher-student relationship and how much a teacher is sympathetic to a student and how much a teacher tries to understand a student. Now here are some keywords: shudder, well, suggested. Now you see this is a beautiful string of words which joining together you can join the whole sequence of events that is happening in the text. Shudders, Swami wakes with a shudder. He wails, he cries that he has a headache. Mother suggests that he may not go to school. Father suggests that he should go to school and should not loaf on Sundays. When Swami understands that he cannot give excuses and not go to school, Swami changes his tactics and changes his way of putting matters, way of giving excuses, and tells the next line, the next word is scold, and tells his father that Samuel will scold him. But Samuel turned out to be an unexpected teacher who was very sympathetic, and then father composed a letter from him. He was very apprehensive about the letter, what he has written in the letter, because Swami's conscience was pricking him that Samuel actually is a good man, but he had complained against Samuel, for which father has written bad things about him to the headmaster. This made him feel dizzy and then again justify. Swami waited for the whole day and decided to give the letter to the headmaster at 4:30 when the school gets over. But he was he came to know that the headmaster was on leave, and Swami was very impressed by the whole thing when Samuel was inspecting the homeworks, and when Swami went back home, his father snatched away the letter from him and told him that he actually deserved the Samuel that he thought himself to be. So these words are just some hints which will connect the whole story together. Keep a note of it, and to increase your vocabulary, learn the meanings of these words very nicely so that you can apply it in your writing skill. Now, so the important message, it unwinds the veiled mind of a school-going child. A school-going child, veiled means it is curtained. It is what was going through Swami's mind was under a curtain. But R.K. Narayan has put it, or he has unwound that veiled mind of the student by telling us about what confusion was going on in Swami's mind, because he was himself not happy to complain against a teacher. So this is actually something to be stressed on a teacher-student relationship. Teachers love their students very much, but students also love their teacher very much. But for saving themselves, and because they are small, they have an immature mind, they sometimes do something which is not good. But inside them, inside their minds, they understand themselves what is correct and what is wrong. So it is for us teachers, it is for the parents, adults, to work out on the goodness of a child and to bring out them. Highlights how the perspective of a child differs from the adults around him. Now, it also highlights on the perspective of a child. See, the mother, who is a kind-hearted person, she was going with Swami's excuses. But Swami's father was not going with his excuses. So the perspective of a child, he was fighting within himself for the good and bad. So it is for the adult around him to highlight that goodness, that good perspective of a child. So we parents and we teachers need to be very careful about what to nurture and what to highlight in the perspective of a child, because our perspective differs from your perspectives, my dear students. But there should always be a discussion. So you should always speak out your mind so that we can know about them and we can guide you what is right and what is wrong. The guilt feeling of a child unfalsely accusing his teacher. See that Swami was feeling very bad, very guilty that he was accusing his teacher. He was not actually feeling good about it. And his father took a very, very good part in guiding him the right way and showing him the right path. And indulgence breeds indiscipline. Indulgence is if you are allowed to do indisciplined acts, if you are allowed to do what you should not be doing. For example, if Swami was allowed to stay at home with the excuse of headache, he would do it another day also. That becomes a habit. When you give indulgence to a child, that indulgence he takes as excuse and he would apply it whenever he can. But the way Swami's father showed him the way, Swami will learn that he will not be given indulgence, and so he will in due course be a disciplined person. He will not seek to indiscipline from what he has learned from this episode. So dear students, you have a lot to understand and feel from this lesson and go accordingly. Now before the common errors, I would like to discuss the types of questions you have in your Madhyamik examinations. You have true false with supporting sentence from the text of 2 marks. Remember that if the sentence is not correct, the supporting sentence stands null and void. if you write false for a sentence which is actually true, whatever supporting sentence you give, the thing is not correct. And regarding this, you should remember one thing, that the supporting sentence should be the line taken directly from your text, not your own words, and write it in inverted commas. And remember that it should not be in your own words, it should be that particular line of the text or the poem by which, reading which, you understand or you have decided the sentence to be true or false. Then complete the sentence with information from the text. This also carries 2 marks. Avoid using direct speech here, and here information should be as much as possible given in your own words. Choosing the correct alternative. Here be very careful that you tick the correct alternative which you are actually thinking in your mind, and be very careful about giving tick in the right place. And please follow the instructions given in the question mark. That is very, very important. Then there is cause and effect, which is also of 2 marks. Somewhere the cause is given and you have to write the effect. Somewhere the effect is given, you have to write the cause. And then there are questions from 2 marks. These questions should also be answered in avoid direct speech and try and answer in indirect speech in your own words. So now we come to the common errors. Not following the instructions carefully. This applies to each and every question that is in your question paper. Please follow the instructions carefully and do accordingly. And then, as I discussed, writing answers in the direct speech, avoid doing that except for in the supporting system, supporting statements in the true and false. Misspelled words. Be very careful about the spellings, because most of what you do, the text is already given in your question paper. So be very careful of your spellings so that the marks do not get negatively cut because of this. Things to remember is, again and again, what I have been saying, you reading instructions very carefully before answering, repeatedly reading the given text. Most importantly, in the unseen part, you should be repeatedly reading the given text for finding the proper answer. Writing down what you read and learn. This is when you make preparations for your exam. Try to write down as much as possible. Try to practice more of writing skills. That will help you writing on any topic that comes in your Madhyamik examination, because hints are written. So if you practice, practice will make you perfect and you can write on any topic that is given. So now here you formal letters you have done. I am not going into the explanation of this. Keep this slide, make a screenshot of this, and very importantly, maintain the sequence of writing a letter, and because that too carries marks, but added to that, you should remember the subject of the letter. The content of the letter is very important. It must be precise and to the point. And without the subject, if you write the process properly, the format properly, and there is no content and subject is not what is given in the question, then the letter stands cancelled. You won't get any marks. The format of a letter is valid only when the subject is correct. Now here it's written the details. So follow this when you write a letter. Go through this. I am not repeating this again, because letters you have done and you have been taught many times. This is just for recapitulating. So go through it properly. Here also it's given in the proper format form how to write. Here are some assignments for you which you may be doing, which will help you preparing for the exam. Here too it continues. And for the writing part, I have given you 2 topics which are currently very important for your awareness also and for the examination also. Cyber safety guidelines. Cyber safety guidelines are taught in your school from local police stations too. And you know how important it is for you to know about the cyber safety guidelines so that you don't fall into any danger. So keep this prepared. Yes, for your examination, but most importantly for your life lessons and for being careful not to fall in any danger. And another is, suppose you're the secretary of a local club. You have been given to write a notice in your informing the people of your locality about any vector-borne disease. It may be malaria, dengue, and a lot of things that keep happening through mosquitoes, flies. So keep learning about these, and both, as I told you, for the letter also, for your own awareness and for awareness of your of the people around you, and also for your examination. So thank you for your patient listening, students. Study well and stay safe. All the best for your examination. Thank you so much, everybody.